There are many challenges in our school which are located in urban areas and the student population is diverse. This position can be discussed based on the following considerations. This is so because there is a tendency for the students to perform differently depending on their ability to pay for their tuition fees and other charges. As much as we have tried to expand the offering of education, achievement still follows a similar pattern. This is further compounded by the fact that many of the programs are underfunded and often lack adequate resources to adequately support the needs of the clients. This is not exclusive to the schools and can be attributed to other national trends in the United States. Research has noted that disparities in learning outcomes among children in the low and high SES learning environments are widening, which has necessitated more targeted approaches. This has led to the introduction of such activities such as after-school tuition and mentorship at our school. However, these efforts are limited by lack of funding, a factor which is not new in literature regarding education inequity. These disparities are also a subject to the new national policy known as Every Student Succeeds Act (ESSA) that mandates all schools to be accountable for every student subgroup.
People in parts of Western Africa and Southwestern Asia were the first to realize that the dark silvery rocks poking out of the earth could be worked into tools and weapons, sometime around 1500 BC, evidence shows. The metal was probably discovered there by accident when some ore was dropped into a fire and cooled into wrought iron, historians think. The Eureka moment didn't reach Europe for another 500 years, traveling slowly north and west through Greece, Italy, Central Europe and finally to the British Isles with the spread of the famous Celtic tribes. The Celts diffused iron technology over much of the continent through warfare, where their victory was assured due to the circumstances' strength of iron weapons. Perhaps not the most peaceful of cultural exchanges, but where the technology did travel, it caught on fast. Iron made life a lot easier in those days, when just living to the age of 45 was a feat. By that time, much of Europe had settled into small village life, toiling the soil with bronze and stone tools. Self-awareness programs can help enhance students' behavior in class according to several empirical findings. It is also important to consider that those students who are more mindful may be more focused and produce less distractions. Class teachers have noted that there are lesser incidences of student indiscipline and increased compliance in the class. It would be due to the enhanced self-observation and control that mindfulness practices provide. Students will be able to control their impulses as well as the way they relate with people and objects when they become more aware of their thoughts and feelings. This is good since it reduces time taken in disciplining students, hence the teacher is more on teaching and the students more on learning. It should be noted that mindfulness interventions have been useful in academic achievement. Through its practice, mindfulness assists students in attention, memory, and executive functions since the practice is constant. Most of these cognitive enhancements are crucial in academic activities because they influence attention, intake of information, and reasoning of the learner. For instance, the exercises that demand the students focus on a given activity for an extended period help in developing the strength to pay attention to tasks for long. With this improved focus, the students have the ability to excel in class practices and exams. In addition, the improvement of memory and its retrieval through the use of mindfulness practice assists students in retaining information and it improve on their performance.
With interest in mindfulness applications incorporated into school environments, there have been several research studies investigating the effects of mindfulness on learners' well-being and academic performance. Bamber and Schneider, 2020. This calls for the frontline implementers, that is teachers, to use these tools in an assessment of how effective these can be. In this regard, these views are useful in providing insights into how such applications affect the classroom, student conduct and academic achievement. A quick survey with teachers indicates a generally positive view by teachers on the use of mindfulness applications. All of these tools, teachers say, help students become more familiar with how they are feeling and more able to deal with stress. Data cited by the organization American Psychological Association, ARPA, 2021 showed that 76% of teachers reported that their students' anxiety and stress decreased when engaging with mindfulness applications frequently. Not only does this reduce the stress in the classroom, it helps in the bettering of the overall climate of the classroom, but also it helps students to be better at doing tasks academically related. Other school climate and leadership factors shape the effectiveness of the selected mindfulness interventions as well. For teachers, this is certainly cause for concern, especially if you work in an institution which doesn't support or discourage mindfulness. This lack of support from the school administration might be an indication of there being either no time or physical space for the practice of mindfulness. On the other hand, the schools that embrace the culture of mindfulness are more likely to provide a better platform for such interventions for the following reasons. On one hand, such schools provide every single thing that teachers need, while in contrast they draw attention to the significance of being mindful in learning institutions. Overall, it is important to point out that mindfulness intervention for students has statistically sound positive effects, but for teachers, the practice of the intervention is accompanied by a variety of challenges. Being of the time constraint, students' diversities.